We got a package, which also means that this video is actually sponsored by. Yeah, I just bought this. It's a new pair of shoes. It is the Asics Sonic Blast from Asics. What they look like. And they have the nylon plate, which I'm excited about. Did I really need these? I don't know. But they look cool. I've had the other ones for like a year now. So yeah. We'll see how this pan out. I still can't run, so hopefully I get cleared this week to get back to running. But it's gonna be my daily trainer, I guess. Maybe not for the treadmill, but for everything else. So yeah, not sponsored yet. Oh. So the goal of this video was to talk about a few of the things that I've learned in the past, like going on about 12 weeks now. So I started the training blog 4 weeks ago. I just got done with week 5. But I gave myself I think it was about 8 weeks of training, like proper triathlon training before it as like a base builder. So I could get some mileage on my feet, get used to riding the bike a lot, and just essentially switch the way I've been training for the past few years into just doing a lot more endurance. So even though this is technically week 5 of the training block, this is more like going on like 17, 18 weeks of training that I've been doing for endurance, specifically a triathlon. And I've learned a few things. First one that I wanted to talk about is that your background matters. And even if you don't have a background in specific endurance sports, there's still a lot of things you can pull from your experience as an athlete to help with your training. So yes, the easiest thing would be if your background is in one of these 3 sports. You know, if you were a runner, a cyclist, or a swimmer, it makes perfect sense to jump into this stuff and being able to essentially put that one skill in which you are very proficient on the back burner and focus on the other 3. But if you're more in my situation, you don't really have a strong suit. You know, you're bad at everything because you haven't been doing this shit ever. Like the longest I've ever run in my entire life is like 10 miles, and that was like one time that I did a 10-mile run. You know, never rode a road bike before like this year, and I don't even have a proper road bike. This is more like a gravel bike. You know, and I did swim a little bit growing up, but very little. So for a few years, I think 6th grade through 8th grade is where I swam. So for me, what I had to focus on is the fact that I had a very, very strong foundation in strength work and just overall strength and conditioning. I was a rugby player for about 15 years. And my resting heart rate was already sitting in like the mid 40s, you know, before I started this. So I was already in pretty good shape. My biggest issue has been the fact that I don't really max out my heart rate in any of these disciplines, ever. I've never done it. So those higher intensity sessions are my weakness. So as I was saying, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. So it is important to take some time to understand what's your current situation and in what type of shape you are, and then find ways of leveraging the tools that you already have. So I was lucky enough to always be pretty disciplined with low intensity work, and I've always kept my resting heart rate pretty low, which means that I was already primed to start doing a lot of volume and also start going pretty hard into higher intensity sessions, you know, threshold sessions. Because if your resting heart rate is, let's say, in the 60s, you're probably not gonna get that much out of high intensity sessions. You're probably not gonna be able to replicate that power set after set because you won't have the tools to recover from those efforts in the allotted time. You know, so if you're brand new to endurance sports, make sure you get a good idea of where you're at as an athlete. You know, even if it's just the fact that you're already really, really fucking strong. You know, I've done nothing but strength work for the last few years, you know, with low intensity work to keep myself in good shape. So strength work takes a backseat now for me. I make sure I get a couple hard sets on every major muscle group once a week, and I call it a day. And then I focus on triathlon training, you know, and because I already have a low resting heart rate and a large like aerobic engine, I can take a lot of volume, you know, and I've been enjoying it, so I just been doing it. More reps means I get to improve faster, and I can also tackle these high intensity sessions and feel recovered within like a day or two, you know, which is what it should be. Like if you're already not in very good shape and you go into these really hard sessions, it's gonna take a while to recover, and it's gonna mess up with your training on the following days. Leverage the tools that you have regardless of what they are. If you're absolutely brand new to the sports, then you just gotta take it one day at a time. You know, find a good coach, find a good program, and then just start slow. Lesson two is something that I've always known because I've been involved in sports for the last 15 years, but it was nice to be reminded of this while actually training for sport and training for a competition. It's understanding the role of intensity and volume. So the goal at the end of the day, especially for something like this, is to get fitter and get faster. You know, it's not really to get hard training sessions in. It's not really to train hard. It's not really to be grinding and being in the pain cave. You know, the goal is to just become a better athlete, get faster at swimming, get faster at running, and get faster at fucking biking. Okay, so you have to understand the roles that intensity and volume play in this. If you're always dog tired, you know, and you're not able to sustain a good power output on the sessions that you're supposed to, you're clearly overtraining. And this can come in the form of doing too much volume, or just going too hard on those sessions, too much intensity. So you have to truly commit to having easy long sessions and having hard short sessions, and you shouldn't try to find that middle ground. You know, there's a lot of talk nowadays about zone 2 training and what it actually means. I don't think it's as finicky as people make it out to be. So if you're on a run and you have a hill and your heart rate spikes and you're supposed to be in a zone 2 run, like it's completely fine. You know, work your hardest, breathe, and do as much as you can to keep your heart rate down. But if it spikes a little bit, it's fine. Bring it back down when you're on the other side of the hill. You know, same thing with biking. You know, if you're on the road and you have a couple of hills and your heart rate just spikes on a zone 2 ride, it's not the end of the world. You know, it's more about the overall feel of these sessions. You should come out of a zone 2 session feeling relatively good. You know, unless maybe it was like a 3 hour session. Like if it's a 3 hour session, you should come of it tired. But like, it's hard to explain without you actually experiencing it. You know, there's a difference between knowing that you did a lot of work and your muscles are achy and your joints are achy and everything's tired, and knowing that you actually went like through a lot of really high efforts and you have this like global fatigue that just hurts. You know, that's the kind of stuff that you're trying to avoid for the most part, because that's the kind of stuff that is going to take you days to recover from. So when you have high intensity sessions, you need to go super hard, you know, or as prescribed, I should say. You know, not all of them are going to be a fight to the death. You know, and you should come out of those sessions like achy, feeling tired and feeling like you tried really hard. You know, but you're gonna see that a lot of the times your aches and your joint, like your joint aches and your muscle aches, are not gonna be the same as the ones that you feel coming out of a 3 or 4 hour ride. You know, and learning those distinctions takes time. You know, and it takes experience. But it's and like it is a super useful tool to develop as an athlete. And if you're gonna be doing this for a few years, I think anybody that does any type of like fitness endeavor should, you're going to get a lot of value out of developing the skills to discern which session you're on and how that session should feel.
I can't. I can't. God dang it. Oh. That was like 40 seconds. Fuck. I'm not gonna hide it. I'm not gonna hide it. I completely fell apart on the last 2 intervals of that. Oh, I pretty much sold my soul to get the 5th one, to finish it like properly. And then I was just like, oh shit, that was really hard. And then I started this 6th one, and I got through like the first minute, I got through like the 2nd minute, I think. And then on the last minute, I was just like, oh no, I don't have this. And yeah, just fell apart. Couldn't finish that minute, had to like break it up. And then I got off the bike, walked around. I did my best to get my heart rate down. I managed to get it as low as I could. Managed to get it lower than I did after the 5th one, because I broke up the last minute, I think. But got back on the bike, started off like I say in the video, I made it like 40 seconds in, and then I just did the best I could. Holy shit. Definitely just a little bit over programmed. It's fine. It's whatever. It's a fucking workout. You're not gonna kill it every time. I'll probably repeat it next week, see how it goes, and then if I have to repeat it the week after that, I'll repeat it again until I can finish all 7 intervals. It's a 7x3 at zone 5, so I was trying to hold 250 watts for 3 minutes. 3 minutes on, 3 minutes off, 7 times. But yeah, that's it for today.
The next thing is nutrition. Now, this is important in like every area of life. Like, please take care of yourself. Keep an eye on your macronutrient intake. Keep an eye on your macronutrient intake. There's no reason to not take care of yourself. I don't care how busy you are. I don't care what kind of lifestyle you have. It is a foundational tool that we have in order to make sure that we age in the best way we can, and we just stay happy and in good overall demeanor. So take care of yourself. But this is especially important in this type of training because of how long it is. And it's something that I wasn't used to it. When I started, I could probably only take like 20, maybe 30 grams of carbs per hour. And that was about all I could like genuinely put down. And it wasn't until I went on a couple like really long rides, like 3+ hours, that I realized it's like, oh, I feel like absolute shit right now and I still have 10 miles to go, And it isn't until you like really try it one time and then you pack on a few extra gels and then you start taking them at the appropriate time and then you're like, oh no, this works. I genuinely do feel better. You're gonna be working out for long hours, and nutrition is just part of it. It starts with the hydration, making sure that you have all your electrolytes in order, and it keeps going with carbs. And I know, and I fucking hate it, like there's still this like notion or like maybe ideas towards like keto and like just heavy fat diets, and I understand that physiology might be different from everybody, but please know that for 99.9% of people, carbs are just going to be the best choice. Just get used to eating carbs and just eat carbs. like they are literally the best thing for any type of output, specifically or especially high intensity outputs. But that doesn't matter. You know, if you're gonna be riding for 3 to 4 hours, take carbs with you, and like eat candy. Like there's nothing wrong with eating candy. I see people taking dates and shit, and it's just like, oh yeah, all that fiber is gonna really work out for you. Fucking dumbass. But so yeah, take advantage of the things that you can take advantage of, like eating candy and stuff, drinking soda. You know, and especially if you're trying to train hard and get results, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. You're gonna be fine. Can you guys see the bugs? Look at that. Isn't that crazy? Well, somebody came on the trail. They're still there. For sure you can still see them. Alright, it's currently Sunday, like 7:30. We're gonna ride like an hour, maybe, just to loosen up the legs. I've been riding a lot this week because I'm injured. Not injured, but I can't run yet. I'm not injured. I'm not injured. Don't let me say that. So we're gonna be doing a little bit of bike work that I've been putting off. You can see it here. I got this little bike stand to work on it, but I already took the back tire out because I want to put it back on the trainer. But we're gonna change this handlebar wrap that we have here that's been coming off. And also, I don't like this kind. It's like really bad about soaking sweat, and like, you know, 30 minutes into a bike session here in the garage, I can literally grab onto this and like sweat starts dripping off. So it's pretty gross. And I saw this online that it helps to like turn these inward a little bit. So we're actually gonna try that. But yeah, hopefully get all this done here in the next 20-30, and then we can ride for an hour or so. Another important thing is to take care of all aches and pains that you may have. Since the volume of work that you're going to be doing is quite high and it's in a lot of different disciplines, it's essentially a full body training style. You know, your upper body is very, very, very taxed during the swims, and I mean, not to mention your lower body, all the, you know, grueling work that you're putting it through, both in running and the bike. And you should also be lifting throughout this entire time, so it's a lot of volume. And it's pretty easy for one little tight, you know, shoulder to turn into an overuse injury. So don't let those things turn into injuries, like address them right away. Make sure you're doing some body work at least a couple times a week, stretching and doing whatever you can to stay somewhat limber. You're gonna be sore like most days, but it shouldn't be to the point that you can't move normally. You know, as long as you're staying limber, you're more than likely gonna be fine.
It is important to draw wisdom from many different places. If we take it from only one place, it becomes rigid and stale. Understanding others, the other elements, and the other nations will help you